So this is gonna be part 2 of the test. It abruptly cut me off at 10 minutes because I have, the phone I'm filming with is a Galaxy S7 Edge, and at 60 frames a second, it caps you at 10 minutes. So I guess in hindsight, I should have done the video at regular 1080p, but I like the look of the 60 frames a second better. But anyway, I was just kind of showing, like, you know, what RPM the car is at based on where you are, what speed you're at. And I guess if there was a way that this, if this car could be a 6-speed to bring that final drive down a little lower, or if the gearing were such that it was geared a little differently where it was a little bit slower revving at highway speeds, I actually think this thing could knock down quite a bit more miles, you know, gas mileage. So let me get back to the gas mileage gauge here. 54.2, we're still doing 54.2. So we're kind of coming through this little turn here. So I'm gonna kind of get to a little stretch where I could downshift it a little bit to show what RPMs you're at. Again, compared to the CVT does, it drives with a little slower rev to it. But honestly, if you know what you're doing driving a manual, this thing far exceeds, I don't know about far exceeds, but it definitely exceeds the mileage of the CVT transmission. And that's contrary to what you'll see online, where it actually says that the CVT performs better as far as miles per gallon. But that's, you know, EPA, they don't, I don't know if they have monkeys driving the car in the manual or what, but you can easily get better gas mileage. I mean, anywhere you look where you're comparing the manual versus the CVT, anyone who knows how to drive the manual properly, you're definitely going to get better mileage in the manual. So, but anyway, we're down into a, what, 45 mile an hour zone, and we're in 5th still. So, I mean, it's not revving that bad. I mean, compared to something with a much larger engine, it's definitely revving more. You're at 2,300 RPM.
Take second exit to US 10 West.
Anyway, we're coming through a little roundabout here. It'd be nice if I had someone else holding this camera, or some sort of way to hold it so you can kind of corner through this thing a little faster, but you can't really do that, so. Kind of hard to hold a camera and shift at the same time.
Continue 6.2 miles on US 10 West.
So, I mean, that wasn't, you know, 100% in the throttle, but I mean, we got back up to 60 without a problem. I mean, so it's not really that big of a deal. Acceleration is fine, it's adequate. Like I said, it's not, you're not driving a Ferrari, you're not even driving, you know, anything that has even a modicum of power. You know, a 4-cylinder of most types will, you know, definitely be faster than this car, I'm sure. But again, I've never lacked power in really any situation that I needed it. It's adequate, you know. It's not the draw of the car. It doesn't really matter that much. But I mean, you can get, you know, here, I'll downshift. Now, this is where I was in the middle of the last video. So we're in, you know, 4th right now. 55 miles an hour is 3,400 RPM. If I drop down to 3rd, then it really kind of revs up. You're at 4,500 RPM at 55. And here, I'll floor it and go through the gears here. Not gonna rev it that much. We're already almost 70 miles an hour. And then I just shifted to 5th. So, and then I shut it down. So, I mean, it's not bad. It's definitely not fast, but again, most people that are looking at this car do not care at all about the acceleration, but it just goes to show that it's okay. And it's really honestly not that loud. I mean, I don't know how the phone perceives the sound, but honestly, it's not that loud. This car is actually pretty refined. It's not very buzzy. I've been in much buzzier cars than this car, and this car just, quite frankly, is not buzzy at all. Now, I haven't ridden or driven the older model. Like I said, this is a 17. I haven't ridden in or driven the older model, but from what I understand, this is a far better car as far as refinement goes. They made it much nicer. And, you know, it shows. I mean, the car, from what I read on reviews, you know, the steering was absolutely terrible. This car, I have no issues with the steering. Like I said, it's not a performance sedan, so it's not going to snap back to center super quickly or whatnot, but I mean, it tracks straight down the road. You know, we have no issues driving it. That was never lacking. It's never a concern of mine. I just like the gas mileage, the warranty, all that stuff is actually the reason I bought this car. And I kind of like something different. And to be honest, in this area, as you can see, this is farmland. You know, most people are gonna have a truck, which I do have a truck as well. But this car is kind of my everyday get around town car and whatnot. For the few days in the winter when you actually would need four-wheel drive, I'm gonna have that at my disposal, or to do actually some work, have that as well, move things, haul things, you know, that kind of thing. But for my everyday driver, I definitely grab the keys to this car. And that's another thing, you don't even need the key in this car. Kind of segue into the fact that you have the start stop right there. So I didn't know what I'd feel about that, but I can say right now, it's actually pretty amazing. I mean, you don't have to take your keys out of your pocket at all. You know, you just leave them in there. And it's quite nice, you know, just getting in, jump and push the button, and that's it. You know, you don't have to deal with anything else, grabbing keys out and whatnot. So I do like the fact that it does have the start stop. But back to my last point, I like to have a unique vehicle, and this definitely it fits the bill. I've only seen literally a couple of these ever. Interestingly enough, we actually have two of these cars. So we have this 2017, and I also have another 2017, an identical car to this one that's wine red. This one's black and the other one's wine red. So I believed in it enough to get two of them, which it sounds like a lot. Oh wow, you know, two 2017 cars. It's not really that big of a deal because we got them for $10,500, so you're looking at $21,000 for two cars. I mean, most every car out there costs more than $21,000 for one car. So we got two cars for the price of one, basically, you know, and I'm not giving up much. Honestly, I'm not really giving up anything because I get much better gas mileage in this car than I would in a car costing $21,000, unless you're gonna go to a hybrid, which I honestly didn't want to go to a hybrid. So, I mean, this thing is phenomenal in that regard. It's, you know, best gas mileage you can get on any non-hybrid, so the complexity is just not there. This thing's super basic. I mean, it's very basic, you know, you're very in tune, you know, you really are driving this car. You know, it doesn't have all the nanny aids that come into play. You know, it has an old school clutch cable. I mean, this thing is like not hydraulic. I mean, it's, you can feel it when you're shifting. I mean, you can tell. And again, the shifter, it's fine. I mean, again, it's not something, you know, high performance as far as, you know, it's not smooth like glass, but it's smooth enough. I mean, it's not rough by any means. I mean, if I put the clutch in, you can, you know, easily go through all the gears just fine. I mean, it's not a problem at all. So, you know, don't worry about that. That's never going to be a concern. So, but again, in all this talking, you know, going up through the gears a little bit, you know, a couple little spirited little things or whatever, and there's the mileage again right now, 54.2. So I'm knocking down 54 plus, and I'm definitely, you know, as the video can attest to, I'm not driving it, I'm just driving it normal. And, you know, those couple little rips from 3rd to 5th, I mean, that's not normal driving. So I think that I could be getting 55.5 probably right now if I was not doing this little review. But again, I mean, as you can see, this is real miles per gallon. This is what it really can do. And you know, anyone who wants something that gets great gas mileage, you know, if you commute a long ways, you really don't need much more than this. And by the way, I'm 6'1", you know, about 205 pounds, and I fit perfectly. The seat is not all the way back for me, and I'm fitting fine. This is actually where I comfortably would like to be. I mean, I have another, I think it's 2 little more notches to go if I really wanted to, but, you know, this is perfect. So 6'1", 205, and this car is plenty big.